Hello, I'm Steve Olson. I'm the Manager of Training Services for Mesa and an Autodesk Certified Instructor. In this video, I'd like to share a tutorial on how to use the CAM feature in Fusion 360. So here I'm in Fusion. I have a part that I've modeled up. I'm going to jump over to the CAM workspace. The first the first step in doing some CAM programming is to create a setup where we're going to define what our operation is and also our model orientation, where our 0, 0 is, what's up, what's down, and also we can define our stock operations or our stock sizes and orientation to our model. So in this case here, I'm going to set myself to milling. I'm pretty happy with my model orientation. I have some stock kind of above the part there. It's kind of got some stock all around it, and the 0, 0 is in the middle here. If I wanted it in one of these corners, I could easily change it using the box point. On the stock settings here, I can tell it to have a certain offset on each of the sides of the component, but I'm just going to leave those right where they are and kind of just leave that. So now the first thing I want to do is I want to do a face operation. I have a little bit of stock above my piece that I want to mill down. So underneath the 2D operations, I'm going to go to a face operation. So the process in these is you basically define an operation, you pick a tool, and then the settings and the geometry that go along with that. So here in this operation under tool, I'm going to go to select. It's going to give me a bunch of different components here. I'm going to just kind of keep going down here in the list until I find the low carbon steel. In this case here, I want to use a 3/8 flat end mill. So say OK to that. Realistically, at this point, I can kind of mess with the settings under the geometry. It should automatically pick it up. If not, I can kind of pick the upper edge of that, and it's going to understand that that is the upper geometry that I'm looking to save and kind of work with that. The heights tab kind of gets into where's the clearance and the retraction height of the different tools. And so realistically here, for kind of just this first operation, I'm going to just accept everything I have. So what I typically do is I like to go in here then and run just a simulation of that. So if I right click on this operation, I can say simulate, and in that dialog box that pops up, I can tell it that I want to see the stock and if I want it transparent or not. So I'm going to bring this down to kind of the corner and kind of move over here. I'm going to leave it, I'm actually going to set it transparent so I can see the part inside. Along the bottom here, I'm going to hit play, and you'll see that it's going to make a couple passes on the part, clearing off and milling down to that face. So I have a nice, good, flat face to work from. I'm going to go ahead and say close to this. The next operation I want to create is a drilling operation. So I'm going to go to drill here. Again, I need to pick a tool. So I'm going to come down to the same set of tools from before. You can see at the top here it has some tools that it's kind of stored in the file. I'm going to just kind of come down to these tools, and I'll find something that is a 1/16 of an inch, because that's the diameter of the hole. So here is a 1/16 drill. I'll say OK. For my geometry, I've got to pick the holes that I want it to drill out. So I'm going to just pick them. You can see here there's also the ability in the software to order by depth, optimize, order, kind of work inside out, whatever I need it to do. The main thing I want to do here is on the heights tab. At the very bottom, under bottom height, there's an option for drill tip through bottom. I want to turn that on. That way I know the drill is going to go all the way through the bottom of the part and actually make that hole. So I'm going to go ahead and say OK. If I want to simulate this operation, I'll go to simulate. I can go ahead and hit play. You'll see it's going to pass through, hit each of the holes. And if I kind of orbit around here, you'll see that it actually came all the way through the material, which is what I wanted it to do. So that operation's good. One last operation on this part, and that would be a 2D contour. So I'm going to go to 2D contour. I'm going to pick another tool. I'm going to turn off the drill. I want to use like a flat, or I can pick here from this filters. I can say what type of tool I want to create here. So I'm going to go ahead and just do it with the milling and say OK. And then I'll find a 16th flat one here because I want to get nice tight in these corners. Now for geometry, I'll pick the lower edge of my part. If I pick the upper edge, it's not going to mill deep enough. It's not going to mill the whole way through the part. So here, everything else looks pretty good. Again, you can kind of go through each of these tabs, and there's plenty of information here that you can control. Just for a simple tutorial here, though, I'm just going to kind of leave most of the defaults and say OK. Now, if I want to simulate this operation, I'll go to Simulate. I'll play that. You'll see that it'll kind of work its way around the part. I'm going to go ahead and say close here. So now at this point, if I wanted to, I could actually right click on the setup and say simulate the whole process and see what that looks like. So I'll do that real quick here. I'll kind of speed it up here a little bit so you can see. There we go. So that's all the operations I have. At this point is where I'd go into the post process, and I'd set up a folder of where I want to output to. I would pick from one of the preset operations here, the preset post configuration for a different set of machines, and kind of work from there. And then I'd post that out with all the set information. Since I'm just kind of doing a tutorial here, I'm not going to worry about that. But that is what the process would be to kind of finish the operation. I want to thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to me at my email address on the screen. Again, thank you for watching.